Okay, so when you hear the name Maharal of Prague, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For pretty much everyone, it's that incredible image of a mystic, right? A powerful magician who, the story goes, created the Golem, a giant clay monster to protect his people. It's an amazing legend, but it's just a tiny piece of who this man really was.
Because the real story is about a man who was way less magician and way more of a deep, revolutionary philosopher. He wasn't just shaping clay, he was shaping ideas that would echo for hundreds of years. So the question we're really digging into here is, who was the actual man behind that giant myth?
To find him, we've got to travel back to the 16th century, into the world of Rabbi Judah Loew ben Bezalel, the man we know as the Maharal.
Now, what's so wild is when you see who he was living amongst. I mean, this guy wasn't in some far-off ancient time. He was born just after Da Vinci and was alive at the same time as Shakespeare. He's living through the Renaissance, this time of incredible intellectual explosion, scientific discovery, you name it. But, and this is a huge but, it was also a really dangerous time for Jewish communities who were dealing with constant persecution and these terrifying accusations called blood libels. This was the world he had to navigate.
And all that pressure leads him to his biggest idea, one that totally flips a concept we think we understand inside and out: faith. For the Maharal, the way most people thought about faith, well, they were missing the whole point.
He went back to the original Hebrew word amunah, and he argued that it doesn't just mean, passively believing in a list of facts. The root of the word is actually much closer to our ideas of loyalty, faithfulness, or being constant. It's not just about what you think in your head, it's about what you commit to with your whole being.
And you can see the difference right here. Belief, that's an intellectual thing. It's passive. And it can be shaken, right? A new fact, a better argument, and suddenly your belief is on shaky ground. But loyalty, that's an active commitment. It's a choice you have to keep making. It takes effort. The whole focus shifts from asking, what is true, to asking, to whom am I true? It's all about relationship, not just a conclusion.
To make this idea really hit home, the Maharal used this beautiful analogy. Just think about the sky and the earth. The heavens reliably, faithfully send the rain, and the earth reliably, faithfully receives that rain to create life. They have emunah, this constant, dependable relationship with each other. For him, that was the perfect model for the bond between God and people. It's not about proving some doctrine. It's about showing up again and again.
So this idea of loyalty becomes this master key that he uses to unlock one of the biggest intellectual headaches of his time.
You see, the Talmud is full of Jewish law, but it also has these stories and legends. They're called agadah, that can sound totally bizarre if you take them literally. So of course, critics would point to these stories and say, see, this is proof that this religion is irrational and nonsensical. So how do you possibly defend these ancient, strange-sounding texts?
The Maharal's answer was just genius. He said you have to be loyal to the text. And what that means is you have to trust that the ancient rabbis weren't just telling silly stories. You have to believe they wrote them this way on purpose, as parables, as riddles. They wanted you to have to struggle and dig to find the meaning. Why? Because a lesson you have to work for is a lesson you will never, ever forget. You don't just hear it, you earn it.
And this whole concept of loyalty doesn't just apply to ancient texts. He uses it to redefine the very nature of a community, of an identity, especially when that community is feeling attacked from all sides.
So using this framework of loyalty, the Maharal basically categorized all the threats to the people's bond with God and with each other. He came up with 4 main types. You've got the apostate, the person who just leaves the group entirely. Then there's the heretic, who believes but kind of splits their loyalty. You've got the enemy, who attacks the group because of what they believe. And finally, the wicked kingdom, which is any government that tries to stop people from living out their commitment.
But this whole system leads to an even deeper question, one that every single community has to deal with. What about the people inside the group who mess up? The sinners, the people who stray? Does their failure to be loyal just snap that bond completely? And his answer to this question is one of his most powerful teachings. He said, absolutely not. The core bond isn't like a business contract that you can just tear up. It's essential. It's like the bond between a parent and a child. A son might disappoint his father, he might run away from home, but he never ever stops being his father's son. That connection is unbreakable. And for the Maharal, the exact same thing was true for the relationship between God and the Jewish people.
So you see, this is why the man we remember for making a golem was, in reality, so much more than just some mythic protector.
He was a philosopher who gave his people the actual intellectual and spiritual tools they needed to survive.
His ideas gave people this deep spiritual resilience during a time of incredible pressure. He really shifted Jewish thought away from getting bogged down in just legal debates and pushed it towards searching for deeper philosophical meaning. He completely redefined faith, not as some static idea, but as an active, living loyalty. And hundreds of years later, this focus on the inner spiritual life would become a huge influence on the Hasidic movement.
At the end of the day, the Maharal's message is both simple and totally revolutionary. Faith isn't something you have, like an object in your pocket. It's something you do. It is a constant, conscious act of loyalty, day in and day out.
And that leaves us with a question that travels all the way from his world in 16th century Prague right into ours today. He taught that faith is this act of unwavering loyalty, a bond that can't be broken. So when you look around at our world, with everything fighting for our attention and our energy, you have to ask yourself, what for us is truly worthy of that kind of commitment?